Hello, everybody. Happy Depression Monday, because we were depressed and talking the whole time the last 15 minutes about football. So I felt
I
like
am
we had to get that
stressed
out of
and
the way.
depressed, people.
We had to get that out of the way before we got into hockey, because it's got to be
Yeah,
hockey
we
talk
have to
today.
talk about it.
I know, but it's like I felt it important. Like, let's just talk about it before we jump on here, because we got
Right,
a lot to get into. Because there was so much
dude.
shit that happened between now and Thursday, believe it or not. Because the biggest bombshell dropped on Friday. I was lucky enough I joined Surgecaster on Friday to chat about it a bit. They were lighting it up, by the way, in terms of live. Like they
Yeah,
had like 600 people in there at one point. It was
they were
incredible.
great. They
Yeah.
did a great
So
job.
shout out to them. They were awesome. Yeah, we got a lot to get into today, and you brought one topic up that I already bookmarked it for the end,
Mhm.
and I'm curious to hear your reasons why, and maybe you kind of know some more information about it. But
Mhm.
overall, good weekend though. You're going to Philadelphia tonight, seeing the Flyers and Devils
Yeah,
tonight. That'll be
yeah.
good.
So the Devils are in Philly tonight to take on the Flyers, and a friend of mine who's a supporter of Devil State of Mind podcast, just self plug on here.
Plug.
Um, she got tickets to the game, and she can't go because of like something. And she
Hmm.
asked me on Saturday or Sunday, if I remember correctly, asked me if I wanted the tickets before she sold them, and she would just give them to me for free. And I said, yeah. So I think they're in the 200 somewhere. I'm not even really sure where I'm sitting. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Um, no, I'm just looking forward to going to a road game because it doesn't happen often. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but in a month from now, I'll be in Nashville when the Devils are there.
In a week
So
from now, I'll be in Calgary.
there you go. Yeah.
Let's
So
go.
maybe if we have time, maybe we'll do an episode where Kyle's in
Yeah.
Calgary and I'm in Nashville.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like, I
So
haven't even thought about it. I haven't even thought about packing yet. I'm gonna be a mess,
I'm
and like
I,
day before,
I'm
I'm gonna be
giving
like,
myself the week before to figure that out because
I
I got
should
a
be
lot of
doing
other stuff
that,
to do.
but I'm like, I don't even know what to do, right?
But
Because
yeah, no, I'm excited for tonight's game.
nice.
Obviously, the Devils are without Nico Heischer. He's day to day after getting injured against Montreal on Saturday. Jack Hughes didn't practice, but he'll be in the lineup tonight. And Jake Allen continues to be the man of the
The
moment.
guy.
Jacob Markstrom, unfortunately, out for a month. And I want what's that? What's that jackass's name?
Who's that
The guy in the
fucker's
Bruins.
name?
Bizzo,
Yeah,
Brazo.
Brazo, Justin
I
Brazo.
want his
Yeah,
head
yeah.
on a, I want his head on a spike,
Oh.
like immediately,
Well,
because
if anything, he's just getting healthy before the playoff run. That's
and
the
the
way we
good
can look
news is
at
he
it,
doesn't have to play in the Four Nations face-off now.
which is
So that's
great.
one less guy. So that's one less guy that the Devils have to worry about. But maybe Dougie Hamilton gets a shot with Team Canada now that Alex Petrangelo has
Go ahead, take it.
moved on. No, I don't want him to go. I don't.
It's
It's fine.
amazing, and we'll get into it because I have something for that as well because we know
Ooh.
Petrangelo's out. So let's dive into it though. We got a lot to go over today, so I figure we'll dive right into it. Before we recap the weekend games, we had Minnesota and Winnipeg. Very quickly, I ended the show on Thursday talking about the Sabres game. Flames did win 5-2. At home against Buffalo. They were down 2-1. They scored 4 unanswered goals, a couple of empty netters. They were lucky to hang on at the end because they made some stupid penalties. But overall, just a quick synopsis. Dustin Wolf stood on his head again, gave the team a really good chance. I thought they were really good shorthanded against the Sabres. And yeah, I mean, Jonathan Huberdeau just continues to light it up. And the biggest thing that kind of transitioned into the weekend was that they brought Jacob Pelletier up to play with Jonathan Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri, and that sparked everything for that game, and even a little bit into the weekend too, which is what we'll get into.
Sometimes you just need like one little thing that just like if you're in a scoring rut, sometimes it just takes switching up the lines a little bit, moving one guy up to play with someone else, and it just clicks. It's weird
Yeah,
how that works, but sometimes it's all you don't need to make like a big move or anything to get your team going. It could
exactly.
be a hit, it literally could be anything. It could be a ref getting a puck to the face for some reason for a team to wake up. Like it's literally
You got it.
that simple.
And then, yeah, really quickly before we talk about the weekend game, there was a bit of breaking news for the Flames, just to let everybody know. They did bring down Rory Kearns to the AHL. They just assigned him about 20 minutes ago, about half an hour ago, something like that. Now, the only reason from what I've been hearing and what I've been reading is that he was voted to the AHL All-Star game
Mm-hmm.
and his waiver wire period was coming up. So I think this is going to be a case of, you know what, go down. If you want to do the All-Star game, great. Come back. Also, the other thing, too, is maybe Zari is on track to come back soon. Don't expect Rory to be playing the one Tuesday night. Might be because he wants to play in the HL All-Star game. I would take this with a grain of salt. So I know a lot of people were really upset, but I would not be that concerned really going forward. So anyway, just a quick tidbit on that. Nothing too concerning, but let's dive into Saturday's game first. Calgary in Minnesota. It was a tough weekend for this team because you have to go into Minnesota, into Winnipeg, two of the top teams in the West, and they get one of them. And I'm glad they got the one in Minnesota rather than Winnipeg, because we'll kind of explain into it as Kuzmenko Potts gets 3 points and the Flames held them off. They were up 5-2 with about 3 minutes to go. The Wild scored 2 kind of towards the end. Was very nerve-wracking, but ultimately the Flames held on for a 5-4 win. Really just kind of dominated this game. And again, the one person that stood out here was Andrei Kuzmenko. And then the other thing, too, is that Kevin Ball goes out with an undisclosed injury. He was not available yesterday because of the hit from behind, from Lacau. And is that how you pronounce his name? Lauko? Lauko?
I think it's Lauko, yeah.
Lauko.
Yeah,
and
Lauko.
So Ball's out. We don't know how long for. I believe it's short term, so he probably won't be available Tuesday, but he might be ready for the weekend when they take on the Red Wings. But as you can see here, it was mostly the Flames were dominating this game. And the one stat that jumps out to me is they were 61% on the faceoff draw, which was unheard of because this team sucks at the faceoff draw. 2 for 3 on the power play also helps. Kuzmenko. They brought him up onto that first power play unit with Weegar, with Kadri, who got assists, Huberdeau, and etc. So they were really good on the power play there. Pospisil finally got the monkey off his back. He's got his 3rd goal of the year. He needed that. Anderson did another stare down with a kid. Hilarious. Clark Bishop found his 1st goal of the year for the Flames. It was not his first in the NHL, but it was his first as a member of the Flames. So good for him. And then, it got a little bit scary towards the end. Kuzmenko managed to score 15 seconds later after Gaudreau made it 4-2. And it was a nice wraparound on Marc-Andre Fleury, who also got punched in the face that night. He deserved it. We'll get into it. It's a lot. And then, they managed to score with about 30 seconds left to make it a 1-goal game. Ultimately, they didn't get that close with 30 seconds left. Right. But they had to hang on at the end as the Flames win it 5-4. And they have one more meeting against Minnesota early April, but they have taken the season series against the Wild. So all of that, Neil, your thoughts after I kind of brought that all onto you on Saturday's win against Minnesota?
Really good team win. Obviously, not the way you want to end the game. You had a 3-goal lead and, things got really, chaotic there at the end, but you found a way to get it done. And I think what's really great, you brought him up before, is that Andrei Kuzmenko is looking like he's finally found his role. And I think that makes it easier for the Flames to go, maybe we shouldn't give up on Kuzmenko.
I'm glad they haven't.
But it also could mean you might get a better deal if someone is interested in getting him. That's another thing. Like, it's kind of a hit or miss. But, it's just great that he's had a couple of games since, I don't know how long ago it was that we were talking, maybe 2 weeks ago we were talking about the
Something
concerns we had for him. And since that point, he's been way better. I think what I just love about this Flames team in general is just the fact that on any given night, someone you don't expect is stepping up. So, Kuzmenko, you could not have told me that he was going to get 3.9, get the game-winning goal, and not only were they going to win, they were going to win in regulation, which is huge, which is just huge in general.
Yeah.
Like you said, the face-off, nearly 62%. Ridiculous.
Where did that come from?
That came out of nowhere. That came out of left field. That's where that came from. And look, you're facing a Wild team that's been struggling of late. I mean, they got off to a really good start to the year, but since then they've kind of dipped. And Kyle, I don't know if you saw this, but I really wanted to bring this up because I read it in The Athletic this morning and it made me laugh. And I'm telling you that these are word for word. So John Hines, the head coach of the Wild, this is what he had to say after losing this game on Saturday. I'm not making this up.
I haven't heard this.
He goes, Hines said, you got to choose your hard. And right now, we're not choosing our hard the right way. And it's costing us games. So it's hard to win. It's hard to lose. At the end of the day, you choose your hard. And right now, we're not choosing the right hard. And then CJ Fogler said,
What?
CJ Fogler quoted this and said, I have gotten fined for laughing at this.
What?
I don't.
What are
That
you
is an
talking
all-time
about,
quote.
dude?
That is an all-time quote. I have never heard that in my life. I
Like,
mean,
I get you can have brain farts. I have them all the time.
that's
God
not a
forbid.
brain fart.
That just makes no sense.
Yeah, no, that's a brain fart.
Sounds like he was getting a hard on while talking about hard.
Yeah, like I I don't
What?
get it. Like it was so funny to read this morning, and I said to myself, I have to share this because this is so damn funny. Because it was like the Flames performance made John Hines give us one of the funniest quotes
That's
of
so
the
funny.
season.
That's so funny.
And I'm like, what does that mean?
I don't know. It
You
means
say you're not choosing your right hard. What? Like, wait, so like there's a difference between losing hard and winning hard?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
So I guess in the grand scheme of things, the Flames are winning hard?
Yeah, I
If you're
guess.
trying to
That's how
say that
that's
they're
how it's been
winning
all year,
now,
really.
if you're trying to say we're winning hard fought games, okay, I can I can get
Well,
behind
that's what
that.
they've been doing. Yeah.
But there was no context after it's
Yeah.
we're not choosing the right hard. What does
Made
that
no
mean?
made zero
If
sense.
I was in that if I was in that press conference, I would have asked him to clarify that.
Yeah,
Because that
100%. Me
doesn't
too.
make sense.
Yeah.
So
What an
that's
idiot.
the highlight of the game for me. That the
What an idiot.
Flames win. Just absolutely destroyed all logic from John Hines.
Did you see the Marc-Andre Fleury punch to the face?
I did not, but I kind of want to look at it now.
Go take a look at it. Tell me your
Yeah,
thoughts on it. I'll tell
yeah.
you that he got involved. He had his glove
Oh,
basically all up in Anderson's face.
we do have a minor trade to announce, by the way. Not Flames
Oh,
related.
okay,
It's.
shoot.
I don't know if you want me to tell you
Yeah, go ahead.
now.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. So the Blues received a conditional fifth round pick in 2026, and the Islanders got Scott Peronovich in the trade, defenseman.
Oh, he is the defenseman. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
what the
Interesting.
hell are the Islanders doing?
Well, they signed Tony DeAngelo.
Yeah. No. No.
No.
They don't want to make the
No.
play. No,
No.
they've given up.
No.
There is no logic behind that.
No.
Except, well, maybe someone's out for the Islanders. I don't know, half the damn team.
Anyway, go look at the video.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Go
go
look
look.
at the video. Basically, what happens is there's a big scrum in front of the net. Fleury has his glove
I just
all over Anderson's
I just
face,
come up
and so he
immediately.
gave him,
Got punched in a mid-face scrum. All right, here we go.
so he gave him a nice little punch, right? Like saying, "Hey, don't do that." And the Wild took offense to that. Fair enough. Like, don't touch our goalie. But
Whoa.
also, it's like if
First of
you're
all,
gonna get
Anderson with the behind the back hook.
yes,
Hilarious.
amazing, yeah.
All right, where's
It's
the
like
whoa?
oh, I know.
Well, okay. It wasn't that much of a punch. It looked
No.
more like a shove.
Yes,
Like
yes.
if I look at it again,
It was a half punch, half
Fleury
shove.
gets shoved.
Yeah, half and half.
And wait, who made the hit? Was it Peltier?
Might have been Peltier. I don't
Let me look
remember
again.
who.
I'm looking again. Oh no. Oh, of course it was. It was Rasmus Anderson.
Of course. Yeah. So anyway, he like the stupid thing is that Fleury has been known in the past to be this type of player, right?
Sure.
He gets involved. I don't care. I don't care if you're a goalie or a mascot. If you get involved, like you might get one to the face. Like that's just gonna happen, right? But it's also not like, oh my god, we like broke his arm or anything because Wild fans were freaking out about it,
Awesome.
right? And it's like, dude, you going to get involved? Okay, you might get a ham sandwich here and there left or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you're
It's
getting involved.
yeah. I mean,
I didn't get the frustration from Wild fans because it's like he got involved into the skirmish. Like what?
Yeah.
You don't want all of a sudden, oh sorry, he can like face rub our guy, but we can't touch him. Yeah, that's gonna go
Yeah,
over.
apparently
Okay.
not.
Yeah, stupid.
Really quickly, some more outside Flames news. Evgeny
Yep.
Malkin just got put on IR by the Penguins.
Ooh, Interesting.
Unfortunately, Sidney Crosby is not going to the Avs, which I
I'm
feel like
so pissed. I'm pissed.
like no, who was it? Chris Johnson that said like,
I
oh,
think he said, he's like, there's
there's
like
a
no
bigger move
way.
than that than the other one, and I'm
And
like,
then Weeks, he's like, oh, I'm gonna put up a picture of Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh, and
no,
I'm like, screw
no.
you, Weeksy.
Sometimes, all right,
Like,
Kevin Weeks sometimes he's right. Like the
yeah,
Jacob Markstrom, like he was the first one to say like how long he was going to be out.
yeah,
Props to him. He got the Shesterkin contract, but there's other times where I think he just posts for the sake of
of
like
posting.
clicks.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's all it was.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
so stupid.
but no, really good win.
Great win.
I would say like that was just a funny all around night for the Flames, and clearly I think they were gassed by the time they played their next game.
Oh yeah, I knew they weren't going to win Sunday night in Winnipeg. We'll get into that.
Well, they already got a win in Winnipeg. So
Well,
like,
the nice thing is that I thought, like, in terms of these last, just looking at these 3 games here, because they had a 5-day break, like, they get 4 out of a possible 6 points.
it's awesome.
It's awesome. It's fantastic. They got a good win against Buffalo.
I will take 2/3 of points every time.
Yeah, which is why, like, I'm not really upset with what happened last night. It didn't surprise me. And we'll really get into it. So anyway, back to back, they played in Winnipeg last night. Bit of a revenge game for the Jets as they lost to Calgary. They got stoned by Dustin Wolf earlier on. And guess what? This was the exact opposite because Daniel Vladar was the one in net and wasn't a great night for Vladar. It was a great night for Velarde, though, as he got 4 points as the Jets get the Flames for their third win in a row. Started with a disgusting goal by Kyle Connor. I don't know if you saw that one at all.
One of the most underrated players in the game today. I don't think Kyle Connor gets enough credit for just his overall play. Now, I think he's on the U.S. Four Nations.
I believe he is.
Roster.
I think he's on Four Nations.
So hopefully maybe in this tournament, maybe we'll see him in a bigger role and people be like, oh, wow, Kyle Connor's really good. Like,
yeah, he dusted Miromanov and then like just went on alone and went backhand on Vladar, which he maybe could have had, but I thought Miromanov just looked sluggish out there.
I don't want to take credit away from Kyle Connor's play, but like, I think Vladar should have had that.
He probably should have had it, to be honest with you. Guess what? You gave the Jets 2 power plays and they executed on both of them. Flames, again, they scored on the power play as well again. So, it is what it is. Face-off percentage wasn't that bad. Uyghur still kept the team in it somewhat. In terms of kind of shots on goal, the Flames off to a slow start made sense. Kind of fought back a little bit in the second period. And then ultimately it got away from them in the third period, essentially from Velarde very early on, and Kadri tried to make it close, but it was too much. The penalty kills kind of killed them at the end of the day because he gave them too many, and they just capitalized on both. But the biggest story coming from this was that if you look at the total shots on goal, which I'll check here, Vladar lets in 5 goals on 27 shots. Because I don't think there was an empty netter. Let me double check real quick. No empty netter.
No, that was just a straight up look. Vladar has been very solid of late. And like every goalie is going to be due a bad game. This was a tough one. That was a tough one because he was the only guy that was fresh going into this one because of obviously the second half of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
It's just not giving up 5 goals on less than 30 shots is not going to win you games at all.
I still don't think there's an excuse though for him because you had like a whole week and a little bit off.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're fresh as hell. You should be ready to go. Like screw the excuses. The guys will still play in front of you. And for the most part, they were in this game halfway through the second period. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think what's been happening very slowly throughout the course of the year is Wolf's been going like this.
And Vladar's
going like this. Right.
So that begs the question.
Yep.
The ultimate question.
What would be that question, Neil? What's the question?
Does Vladar get moved at said deadline?
That's the big question. Does he? I think he does.
Okay. No, I don't want to bring it up because it's it's unrealistic and kind of stupid at the same time.
Do it. We're all stupid.
I've made hot takes on this podcast before that I've gotten reamed for, so I guess I'll just keep going. I think that the Flames should consider, and I mean consider, calling Anaheim.
For Gibson?
Yes.
Why?
Because I believe, first of all, Dustin Wolf is the number one guy. That's just my thinking.
Okay.
But I think that
Let me take a look
having a
at this.
guy like Gibson as well, with a better defense than Anaheim, which, I mean, again, not saying a whole lot,
Gibson.
would be good for the time being.
Yeah.
But the contract is obviously the issue.
That's the
If he
biggest
was
issue.
if he was on an expiring deal, I think a lot more teams. I think John Gibson would have been gone by now if his deal was not what it is.
It's a bad
Because it's not
contract.
his play as much as it is his contract that makes it hard.
I don't even
I,
blame him because he's just on a bad team.
I think he ends up in Carolina. I'm gonna be
I think
fully
so too.
transparent. I think he ends up in Carolina because they need goaltending like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning more towards just that. I mean, that's a suggestion. That's not the only one. That's a suggestion because I am of the mind that leans towards nowadays having two reliable goaltenders that on any given night you can feel comfortable playing. I'm
Yeah.
not saying Vladar has completely gone away from that, but as you said, his trajectory is going down this way.
Yeah.
And that concerns me because as the Flames continue to stay in this hunt, because ladies and gentlemen, we are now into late January. The Flames are not going anywhere. They're going to be in the hunt until this season is over. That's what I firmly believe. How much are you willing to ride Dustin Wolf
You
moving
have to.
forward?
You
Well, you
have
have
to.
to. You have
Yeah.
to. But at the
You have
same
to.
time, there's going to be times where Huska's going to want to put Vladar or somebody else
Yeah.
in net. Now,
I don't.
Obi-
I agree that Vladar wasn't put in the best
maybe Gibson
spot.
wasn't the best example of like maybe getting someone else.
He's gonna get a starting role somewhere else, right? But just in terms of Vladar, like, okay, fine. Like, didn't put him in the greatest spot yesterday. Team's tired. You got to play the Jets. They're probably gonna have a revenge game on him. Everybody's gonna make him look bad. I get it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like Vladar has been awful this year. He had a good start to the year, right? I think going forward, like, he just needs to play 500 hockey. I don't even expect him to be amazing. He doesn't need to be amazing. He just needs to be a suitable backup goaltender, right? That's who he needs to be, right? Because the only reason the Flames get in the playoffs this year is because of that kid, right? And there was also too, I think it was on TSN, or I can't remember what article it was. It might have been The Athletic as well. But they were talking about like, oh, Ryan Huska is the biggest reason why, or a big reason why the Flames are where they at. I agree. I think he has put this team in a great position. He is the ideal coach for this team because of the culture that they've created.
Mm-hmm.
But Dustin Wolf has played a very, very big part in that. Right?
Oh, I mean,
look at his record. The guy should be considered in a Calder race, and it's like he's getting sniffed.
He might. Okay.
If Dustin Wolf is playing for the New York Rangers right now, I guarantee you Dustin Wolf would be number one for the Calder. And it wouldn't even be a debate.
He'd be in the top 3 for Vezina.
Right. Right.
And like, I would make an argument, and I'm just going to say this. I think, although he was never going to win it in the first place, I think Jacob Markstrom being out for a month at least,
that hurts him.
It hurts his chances of even finishing as a finalist, unless, Hellebuck and others just start imploding, which is unlikely. Who's to say that Dustin Wolf can't make a run at being just a finalist? I'm not saying he's going to compete with Hellebuck, but
Hellebuck's going to win it. We know
Hellebuck
that.
might win the Hart the way he's been playing this year.
It's a foregone conclusion that Hellebuck is going to get the Vezina.
But like, who's to say that Dustin Wolf ain't one of the better consistent goaltenders we've seen in the league this year?
If he's not considered,
if they make a run to the playoffs.
Yeah, if he's not considered a Calder finalist, I'm going to be heated. I'm going to be so pissed.
So you got what? You got Celebrini, obviously.
Celebrini.
He's going to probably win it. If we're being honest, Celebrini's probably going to win it.
Michkov, and then they mentioned Lane Hudson. And I go, okay, the Canadians have had good 17 games so far. Dustin Wolf's been good of all year.
I am sick and tired of the Lane Hudson. Okay, he's had a really good year. I get it. But he's not Jesus.
Right.
Like I'm telling you, like I've heard so many Canadian fans being like, he is the greatest thing that has happened to the Habs in a long time, and I'm like,
No.
so Cole Caulfield means nothing to you people. So, so
Also,
I've
I
got.
saw the end of that Devils Canadians game on Saturday. I
Oh,
saw that.
I was
Woo!
at a play. Okay, I did not watch any of the game. I had to go back and watch the highlights. So I'm in the play, not knowing what is happening,
I
but
saw.
hell of a game.
But yeah, so back to Vladar though, like I think what ends up happening is I understand people wanting to get rid of him, right? This is something you can do in the off season. You don't need to
Yeah,
do it,
ride
right?
him the rest of the
Okay,
year.
great. You want to trade him for a 5th round pick? Great. Like you want to get Devin Cooley up, right? Because he's been doing good in the AHL. You think that just transforms into the NHL for some reason? Like
Kyle knows how much I've loved Devin Cooley
I
since
know you and I know and I understand that, but it's like
you
I'd rather like if you're gonna do this,
could
right,
carry
at the
3
deadline,
goaltenders.
you could.
You
I would
could, but
love
I
it.
feel like that's gonna. I feel like the chemistry might get thrown off a bit if
The
you.
only way this works is if I trade Vladar and the value that he's been getting at is a 5th, right? If
Yeah.
we trade him for a 5th, I expect another goaltender that we can maybe change it up for that same 5th round pick.
And the
I'm
way
not
that I
losing anything because of this.
and the other thing to think about is this: like, this is yet another year where goaltending is kind of scarce in terms of what is available.
Mhm.
And there are teams, not as many as there were last year,
Right.
but there are teams that certainly would like to upgrade one way or the other. I keep mentioning Carolina because, and this is not me being like crapping as a Devils fan on the Hurricanes. I'm being honest. The
Yeah.
goaltending is still a question mark, in my opinion, if you're Carolina. So they're gonna. I think they're going to get a goaltender. It just depends on who. Now, if they get Vladar, is that much? Is that an upgrade over Freddie Anderson or
No.
Peter Kochetkov?
No.
No, in my opinion.
No.
Is getting John Gibson an upgrade? I would argue that it's possible that it is.
We would find out.
You'd find out very quickly. But I think the reality is that even if the Flames go out there and say Vladar is available, I have a very tough time believing that somebody's going to do something and get him. I could be
I
wrong.
I
I could
just
totally be
yeah,
wrong,
I
but I don't
just
see
think
it.
it's a waste of time to do it. I don't think there's
Just
any
ride with
point in
what you have.
yeah. It's been going good all year. Just ride with it. Okay, Vladar hasn't looked that great recently. Doesn't mean he can't turn right. It doesn't mean like I think in a lot of people's eyes, it's like, oh, the Flames just aren't going to win with Vladar on the ice. It's like that's not going to be the case. Like he's going to still provide some value going forward. He might be able to take a game here and there, and that's fine because we've now figured out and we've now established that this kid and Dustin Wolf is the guy. We've said that for the last 2 weeks already, right? And it's not like that Vladar is going to be terrible for the rest of the year. Well, who knows? But
No,
the guy can win you a game here and there. I know, knock on wood.
it's just
The guy
what's
can win you a game
the
here and there. And that's just it, right? Like, okay,
Mhm.
he's having a bad little stretch, but like what? You're going to get rid of him for a 5th round pick for nothing? And then who are you going to go after? That's if teams even want to trade their backup goaltenders.
And like and here's okay. Let's think about this for a second. How many goals did Dustin Wolf give up on Saturday?
4.
I didn't think he had that great of a game personally,
I thought Wolf was good. He just let up at the end.
but he let up 4 goals. Whether he played good or not, the man did give up 4 goals. So like
Sure.
my point though, Kyle, is this: every goalie that plays this damn sport is due for a bad night or a couple of bad nights. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
By the way, Vladar did the same thing months ago when they played the Wild. He let up 2 goals, which went to overtime, and the Flames ended up winning it. But still, he did the same thing, and he was actually doing well against the
right,
Wild early on this season.
right, and you could make an argument that the that the Jets knew they obviously watched tape, and look, they wanted revenge because they got beat by Calgary not too long ago at home
By Wolf.
by Wolf. Now, would it have felt better for Winnipeg if Dustin Wolf was in and they put up 5 goals? Yeah, of course. But like it's all the same. So
Sure.
my whole thing is this. When you have a good thing going, now I'm not saying it's perfect between the combination of Dustin Wolf and Vladar. But when it's going well, which it has been at many times this year between both of them,
Mhm.
like you don't want to give that up, especially if you're fighting for a playoff spot. It's different if obviously you're towards the bottom of the NHL and you're selling assets to just gain draft capital.
Yeah.
It's different when you're in this position where you don't want to rock the boat too much. Now, if
No.
Vladar gets traded, is that going to completely rock the boat? No,
It might
but
it
it might
might
sting.
it might sting because there's probably a lot of guys who like they've created this whole thing, right? Where it's like, okay, the guys who have dealt are gone. Everybody's gone. Everybody who wants to be here is here,
Is here.
right? So it would suck if like they turn around and just decide that they wanted to trade him,
Right.
right?
And that's and I just
Might
can't see
hurt the
Mike
chem.
Conroy being that guy.
I can't see it. I can't see it either, right? So that's
I
why
think he
like
ends up adding at this deadline. I really
Flames,
do. Like
yeah,
that's
I
what
do
I
too.
think.
I think Flames Nation, they wrote the article this morning that it's time for Vladar to move on. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that's something you can deal with in the off season.
You don't have to think about it now. Like now,
There's
what
no
what'll
need.
be really funny is that the next time he plays, I bet you he gets like a shutout. Like I'm
Right.
just gonna go off of like how the hockey
Sure.
gods work sometimes. But like there are other things that I think the Flames need to focus on other than the backup goalie position. So like we've talked about before, what is the still same issue? They need center depth.
Right-handed center.
There are guys
Right
out
shot center.
there
Yeah.
that you can go get for not much. That not only could you get for the now, you could get them moving forward. I've mentioned Nico Sturm before,
Yeah.
and I think he would be really good on this Flames team.
We've
Not just
mentioned
for
that
now, but
before. Yeah.
I think he could be good moving forward on this Flames team.
Yeah. It'll be
Just
like that's the thing. Like I totally agree. I think that this is something you can worry about in the off season,
yes.
and I think you can make a slight addition to this team to make it a little bit better. And I think that the only thing you need is I'm fine with getting a rental at center to see how it goes when you get a right-hand center. Because if the market's not there,
I think
right, and
Sturm
you
though
are
is a
truly out on Cousins, because we'll bring it up later with Vancouver because you mentioned it. Um, if it's not there, it's not there. But I think people were getting like Flames fans were frustrated about the idea that, oh my god, here we go, another rental. But it's like okay, this is the intention that this guy is. We're probably not going to sign him in the offseason, right? Like this is a pure
but we're
rental.
trying to win here.
Yeah, why not? Like if it means giving
So
up a fifth round pick, then
yeah,
fine.
exactly. If you give up a fifth round pick to get a guy like Nico Sturm, is it really like the end of the world here,
No,
ladies? It's not.
no,
Like
you're
who
losing a
and
fifth,
don't Flames fans want to stop getting draft capital and start trying to add pieces, even if it's a rental, to try to win?
especially because their last draft that they had was the best draft that they've had since what, the Kachuk draft.
And also, Kyle, they have several first round picks this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Like we don't
Exactly.
like
There's no need to continue to add
yeah,
draft capital. At some point, it's like, okay, well, you can only add so much before you got to start losing guys off your ship.
exactly. Exactly. So I think like at the end of the day, whether regardless of like Vladar or anything, I think you just got to keep what you got. And if you
Yeah,
want to add something to it, which I really feel like Conroy wants to add something. Like
he
I
will.
do.
I think he will too.
But I think he's going to wait till the deadline. I legitimately don't I unless it's for a minor trade. Because I don't like I just think that he's not going to he doesn't want to rock the boat, which I get.
He
Now,
won't. He
there's
won't rock
another
the
team
boat.
that decided to completely rock their boat in the middle of a playoff run and might be a Stanley Cup run if all things go according to
Yeah,
plan. But we'll talk about that.
we'll get into an
But
ad read, and then that's the first thing that we'll talk about because it's been a couple days.
we can't end this episode without
We
talking
can't
about it.
ignore it.
No.
Yeah. Other than that, for Flames news, I think that's pretty much it. Until like we'll kind of get into maybe the first thing we'll get into after the ad read. We'll do just Tuesday. Look at Tuesday really quick. We don't know any lineups yet, but just expectations, predictions.
I don't know if they're practicing or not. I don't think so.
I don't think so right
Probably not because
now.
they just played it back to back. I feel like that would be kind
Even
of
if they
overkill.
are, like they're gonna do line swaps and all that fun stuff. So
Or they'll end up doing a full morning skate tomorrow.
yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night they will take on the Washington Capitals. The Flames are home. 7 of their next 8 games
Just
are
huge.
in the Saddle Dome, which is
Huge.
massive. To give you perspective, real quick on those 7 games at home. They're at home for the rest of the week here tonight, Tuesday night. They will be at home to Washington, who ended up losing to Vancouver on Saturday, which kind of sucked. So you're at home to Washington. Go ahead.
Completely. I was going to say, from my perspective, it didn't completely suck.
I know.
It just
sucked.
I want
At
you to know
home.
there's always a good and a bad when it comes to that.
Always. So you're at home to the Capitals, at home to the Ducks, at home to the Red Wings this Saturday. A little bit of a revenge game there. In Seattle, not far for them. So they'll go to Seattle. They get the Leafs at home. They get the Avalanche at home. They get the Kraken at home. And then I will be at the game against the San Jose Sharks. So that's how it looks.
Should we do the thing that we did the last time where we predict what the record's going to be in the next?
No.
Because I don't want to do that again. I don't want to be like, I think they'll get 5 out of a possible 6 points and then they get 1.
We're wrong every friggin' time.
I don't want to do it.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it.
Nope.
Okay, let's get into a bit of an ad read, and then we'll quickly do some predictions. We'll do predictions for tomorrow night. There's not much to really get into. And then, we got still more news to discuss on the other side. Have you played Pick 6 from DraftKings yet? No. What are you waiting for then? You better get on it. The playoffs are here in the NFL, and the NHL regular season continues to roll on as time is running out. And the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL and the NHL is DraftKings Pick 6. Pick 6 does fantasy sports like no one else, and so play for better payouts on Pick 6. Super easy to get started. Select 2 or more players. Choose if they'll have more or less of a stat, like touchdowns, yardage, sacks, shots on goal, saves, and more. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. And DraftKings is making it even sweeter for first-time users. New Pick 6 customers play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. All right, on the other side here. So real quick, we have a matchup tomorrow night. Do you have news?
Just again, very non-big news. Sabres just put Abe Kubel on waivers with the intention of sending him down to the Rochester Americans. However, I get the sense that he'll probably get picked up.
Yeah.
By Colorado.
Yeah, maybe he will.
Again.
Or Philadelphia. I
said the Devils because they knew because the center depth.
That's okay. You already have Curtis McDermott.
Shut up. He was first. Not even joking. He was first line center today because Nico was not practicing.
No, that's amazing.
Well, again, it was a filler. All right, it was a filler. Like it's not. This isn't real. Nothing. And also news from the Devils. Nico Hischier was sent back to New Jersey to be further evaluated for his injury. I am leaning to believe that it's probably a concussion, but I am not sure. And I am telling you that I cannot wait for this 2-week Four Nations break because there's so many teams that are literally broken that need 2 weeks off.
That need to be fixed.
Yeah,
Thank I don't have much.
Flames are okay.
Thank God. But who knew, right?
Also, shout out to Due for first game in San Jose.
Dewar
gets a goal
in
his first game as a Shark.
Friggin' Dewar, honestly. It's ridiculous. Congrats to Dewar, though. I mean, he was just one of those guys that I kind of mentioned it on the pod last week where he got dropped and then he got claimed by San Jose. He wasn't going to be much better than I think where he's at, right? And I'm not saying, I hope for the best. But
he's in a bigger role in San Jose than he was ever going to be in Calgary, to be
fair. And he was never going to be... And you know what? If he wants to be that in San Jose and San Jose sees it that way, fine. But you probably should have picked up Peltier earlier on in the season when he was on waivers. Just saying. So, real quick, tomorrow night, again, nice homestand coming up here for the Flames. 7 of their next 8 at home in the Saddle Dome. They start tomorrow night against the Washington Capitals. Capitals looking to rebound after Saturday's loss against Vancouver. No idea who's starting yet. I imagine that Wolf probably gets the nod for this one. You probably see Washington a little bit more on your end, Eastern Conference wise. So anything to kind of divulge a little bit about the Capitals. Also, Andrew Mangiapane's return to the Calgary Flames tomorrow night.
Right, right. So, yeah, with the Capitals, I mean, they have broken every analytical thing you could think of because when you look at it from a very deep perspective, they shouldn't be this good.
Right.
Like everything about them, like just analytically speaking,
Is like wrong.
is wrong. Is completely wrong.
Yeah.
Now, what really makes the Capitals dangerous is that they cannot stop scoring. They score at a ridiculous rate, and it's not Ovechkin, since coming back from his injury, is lighting it up.
It's everybody.
And the guy that concerns me the most is Pierre-Luc Dubois, if I'm being honest, because
Fuck
he has
that guy.
played so well. He finally found a home, ladies and gentlemen, in
Oh,
the
it took
Major
him long
League
enough.
Baseball.
Good for him.
Also, who's having an underrated season, Connor McMichael is well on his way to getting 30 goals.
Good for
He's
him.
insane.
Yep.
And and the combination of Charlie Lilligren, excuse me, Lindgren,
What?
sorry. Yep.
What?
Sorry. It's one of the two.
Okay.
And Logan Thompson. By the way, they're the only team in the NHL that has two right-gloved goaltenders. Fun fact. They're both right-glove, which
Right.
which should be an interesting
That'll be good.
thing for. I think this is the first time that probably the Flames have faced somebody with a right glove. Anyway, yeah, no, this is a really, really tough team to play against. But the biggest thing I will say from watching them play the Devils, because they split the season series between the Devils and
And I think
Capitals.
Logan Thompson's getting the start in Calgary
Logan
tomorrow
Thompson's getting the star, correct?
night. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
by the way, unbelievable save that he made in their last game, coming back from being
Was it him or
pulled.
was it Lindgren? I think it was Lindgren.
No, I think no, it was Thompson. It was Thompson. I don't know. They're both right gloved, man. I don't know.
I'm
They're
gonna
both
look
the
and see.
same guy.
I think it was Lindgren.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
if it
look.
was Lindgren, I don't know. It wasn't
Continue your thought. Yes.
Yeah, no, but like the thing that you have to do more than anything,
It was Lindgren.
it was Lindgren. All right, whatever. All right, great. A broken
Sue
clock
me.
is right twice a day.
Sue me.
Yeah, right. But the thing about the Capitals is that you have to grind them out because if you give them too much space, they will capitalize. No pun intended.
Right.
They will take advantage of it because they can score very quickly, and they're not a fast team.
Mhm.
They'll just grind you out. So
Right.
the Flames got to take the Capitals game and shove it back in their face, which the Flames have done a really good job of grinding out these type of games.
They
So
have.
like I expect them to play a good game against the Capitals. I think we're in for a good one between those two teams,
I think so
and
too.
I think Dustin Wolf should absolutely get the start. I think Dustin Wolf should get the start
It's
in every
been
game against the
confirmed.
top team moving forward.
Yeah, it's been confirmed on the score that Logan Thompson will start for the Capitals tomorrow, and it will be
Yeah.
Dustin Wolf tomorrow night.
And the thing about Logan Thompson, remember, he's a tall dude. He's pretty. I think he's 6'5", 6'6".
I think
He's
so.
tall.
He's a tall guy. Yeah.
Get bodies in front of him. Like it's got to be at least two guys. I don't care. I don't care who it is.
And they normally do that anyway. They
They
normally,
normally, which is great. But I'm saying they gotta make it tough because if you give him too much, he's too athletic of a goaltender at his height to make he'll make those saves that they'll need, like those big time unreal saves.
Yeah.
Same thing with Lindgren, to be fair. But like at the end of the day, this is a really good start. I think this is a really good opponent to play against to start this stretch because if you can get a win, even if it goes to overtime, who cares? Because it's different conferences, literally has no effect on anything.
Yeah.
But if you can find a way to get a win against one of the better teams and certainly the best team in the Eastern Conference, I think that is a huge emotional boost.
Yeah.
Moving forward, you got to get off to a good start.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, again, it's not a back-to-back, but this is your third game in 4 nights. You got to come out with better energy than you did against Winnipeg.
They got a rest. They got home late Sunday night, and they just said Monday was like kind of a rest day. Right.
Yeah, you're not practicing today. You're getting a rest. You're going to come back tomorrow. And you realize that, hey, we've played really well at home for the most part this year. This is a golden opportunity. This stretch could very well determine whether the Flames are truly going to make the playoffs or not.
Yeah, you got it.
So
you got it.
That's what I want to see. But with the Capitals, man, sometimes you could do so much and it's still not enough. I mean, it's just just playing at an unreal level right now, and they're one of the favorites to win the cup. The way they're playing,
Yeah,
Um, but it's a great test if you're Calgary. And
it
the
is.
great thing about the Flames this year, they do really well when they have these big tests. And I'm excited to see what they can do tomorrow night.
And they've got and they've had big confidence already, beating the Jets recently, beating Minnesota on Saturday, two really good teams. They've beaten the Rangers, who aren't really a great team. Beat the Devils earlier on this year.
Been a lot
Sorry,
better,
Neil. They've beaten the Devils earlier this year. They still have a lot of good opponents to still come up and face, within their own division and that. But yeah, it's going to be a good test tomorrow night. And I think the biggest thing for me tomorrow is it's going to be a bottom six matchup. I think the Capitals are deeper. And I think they might expose Calgary in the bottom six. And I think all four lines have to go tomorrow. And if they don't, they played three lines in the third period against Buffalo on Thursday, which worked. If that's the case again tomorrow night, I don't think this team pulls out the win.
It's a really deep team in Washington. And you know what makes it worse? Look at the talent they have in their farm system.
It's crazy.
Jesus.
It's good.
Whoever,
I think they're going to be good.
Who the GM is anymore in Washington. It's not George McPhee, I'll tell you that. But like, holy smokes, man.
It's good.
And you know
what?
Be
happy with it.
Got to shout out the Grit and Barrett podcast here on the network covering the Hershey Bears, because that freaking franchise, there's something, maybe it's in the chocolate.
It might be. It might be. It might be.
They're so damn good and have so much talent that comes through the ranks. It's crazy.
And they just did the teddy bear toss too. Damn. Yeah, it was cool.
Best teddy. There's a lot of teddy bear toss out there. They have the best.
Easily the best
by far.
All time. Let's get into other news too. Also, I was going to bring up earlier. We were talking about Flames prospects earlier. Two defensemen in the OHL this year, leading in points, is Henry Muse and Zane Parekh, both Flames prospects. So just a little shout out to them.
You think they know each other pretty well? Probably.
There was probably some introductions in camp. There was introductions.
Yeah, they both were in prospect camp, I think, correct?
Yeah. They were both at camp. Muse is up in Sudbury, which I'm gonna go watch them this week. I was gonna watch them play the London Knights on Friday.
You gotta give us some
so excited, man.
Live reporting there.
I will. I'm excited. I want to go just to watch him.
Do you care who wins the game, or are you just focusing on just watching Muse play?
I don't care, because I'm a Guelph Storm guy, heart and heart, for the OHL, and so like Sudbury Wolves.
I still haven't picked the team. I'm trying to figure it out as I go along here.
Figure it out. Take a look. You got some American teams to look at. There might be more because the USHL might be merging.
I heard about that. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
So that'll be interesting. But no, I just go to watch the players, and I'm so excited to watch Muse. It'll be so good. Anyway, yeah. So let's get to more news. The biggest one, obviously, was Friday, where out of the blue we were sitting having a good Friday night.
Like what was it, like 9:30 at night?
Something like that. And then at first we thought Kotkaniemi was a part of the package, and it turns out it was Jack Drury. The whole trade, I know it's been talked about already. I don't feel like bringing up the graphic and all that because it's been talked about too much.
I mean, I can just tell you what it was.
I know it.
I mean, I'll simplify it for you, Kyle. This is simply what happened. The Carolina Hurricanes got Mikko Rantanen for Martin Necas. That's literally what it was. Like, I know they got Taylor Hall as well. I know. But they got Taylor Hall for nothing.
So the Hurricanes, all in one deal, acquired Rantanen, Taylor Hall. The Hurricanes sent out Martin Necas and Jack Drury and a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick to the Colorado Avalanche. Chicago retained 50% of Rantanen's cap, and they also got a third-round pick.
Okay.
Go.
What the hell are the Blackhawks doing? Like, what do you gain from doing this?
I think what they're trying to do in a weird way is, and I mentioned too before we jumped on, in a weird way, they're trying to get Rantanen to sign in the offseason in Chicago to play alongside.
I did hear about that. And honestly,
I think that's the plan. I think that's what they're trying to do.
It's really interesting because I think it was Elliot Friedman that said that apparently the value continued to go down for Taylor Hall. Like, it went from being he could fetch a second or third round pick to like it was getting worse.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think it was, I don't know if it was because of the production or if it was just that as the weeks go on and nothing has happened, like it's different. But like, I think what was just really impressive was the fact that we finally finally got a blockbuster deal that went down and happened. Because we've talked about things like this forever. How many times have we talked about, or how many times have you talked about the packages that could go for JT Miller or Elias Pettersson, who we'll get into in just a minute? And they're not going to happen. But Eric Tulsky comes out of left field and says, you want chaos? I'll give you that. And I'll get Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall, which like I know Rantanen's the big piece, but getting Taylor Hall for depth scoring is very good. So
Yeah.
And believe me, I don't think the Hurricanes are done, but I will say this. I think giving up Jack Drury is going to be a mistake. From talking to Carolina people, from talking to them, he was a very, very valuable member of the locker room and just his play overall.
He was also surprised, too, that he
Wouldn't
was
you
getting
be?
out. Oh, yeah, because it comes out of left field. Rantanen was also surprised.
Nathan McKinnon was like, what?
Yeah.
No, my favorite. Wait, somebody. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, somebody on Instagram. I swear to God, it was on the. Oh, you know what? It was. I think it might have been Cale Makar. I think Cale Makar on Instagram replied to the breaking news and said, "What the hell?" Because that's how he found out.
He's like, wait, yeah, that's probably how he did find out. 100%.
That's how I think most of them probably found out. Like,
that's probably how McKinnon found out too, right?
Do you think Rantanen knew? Like it was happening?
No, it was reported that he was actually, no, hold on a second. I had it up on my phone actually ready to go. No. So he was blindsided by this. Rantanen, in this feature, I was willing to take a significant discount with the Avalanche.
Is that the one from the score?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I got
Sean
that today.
O'Leary, so real quick, I'll read it. Rantanen said he was open to signing for cheaper than his reported price before the Avalanche traded him to the Carolina Hurricanes. Quote, I was willing to take a significant discount from my market value. We had some chats a couple of days before, and then they traded me. That's why I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Completely blindsided by it. So the initial, now, this is the way that I see it, how it went down, and I want your thoughts.
Yes. Can we give trade grades, by the way? We don't really do that.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that after. Yeah,
let's give trade grades.
I think that's how the discussion started. Whenever they began to just start about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rantanen goes, I'm looking at $14 million. And the Avalanche went, no, you're not going to get paid more than McKinnon, right? And I think in the Avalanche's eyes, right,
mm-hmm.
they would rather trade him at the value that he's at now,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Even taking the discount, right? He mentions a discount, right? How much of a discount are we really talking about here?
I'm thinking, if I'm being very honest with you, I'm thinking like $2 million.
That's what I was thinking.
I think
Rantanen said
he was willing to go as little as $12 million.
Rantanen said that, but the guys were going, no, we signed McKinnon, who, I'm sorry, and I think they're going to be flat out blunt, he's the guy for the face of our franchise.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He signed 11 and a half. And to be frank, he is only Rantanen in, I don't think he's been that great this year either, actually, in points.
I'd have to look.
Here. I'll pull it up on my end too. But with him, so this season, here you go. 50 games, he's got 64 points. Okay, he's had a great year. 25 goals, 39 assists. He's had a really good year. Okay, yeah. He's had a great year. So
now, if he had 34 points, that would be a different discussion.
But even with that, right?
It's also a contract year for him, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a contract year for him, and good for him. He's been having a really, really good season. McKinnon's got more points. He's got 77 points. He's got more points than Rantanen, right? So it's still at that point where the guys are going, well, no, like you're not going to get paid more than McKinnon. I don't care, right? Because at some point, we see Draisaitl's contract set the tone, right? At $14 million. McDavid's will then reset the tone again, right? At some point, teams are going to be like, we can't keep doing this because the cap can only be raised so much, right? And there's other areas that you have to treat. And if guys want to get their bag, then good, go get your bag. But if I'm trying to win hockey games and you're making it more difficult to do that, then I'm going to acquire more assets if you want all that money and you're getting paid more than our star player.
Yeah, and I think that the other issue is this. I think we're heading towards, I hate to say it, but I think we're heading towards another lockout, Kyle. I think with
Wouldn't
the
surprise
way
me.
this is going down nowadays,
Yeah.
it's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
And I think this offseason is going to really, really rock some people.
Because McDavid can sign his extension this offseason, I think.
He can. And it's more of just the fact that more teams are going to have more cap flexibility to do things. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I don't see Rantanen signing long term in Carolina. Now, not because I don't think he would want to.
There's time. There's time.
There is time. There is time. Now, if it's true that Rantanen would have taken less to stay in Colorado, I think that there's a way that he stays long term with a lesser amount of money per AAV in Carolina. Now, it's going to depend on a couple of things. One, how he feels in the next couple of months playing there. Two, how far does the team go? Does he feel like that this is like, does he care about winning or does he care about his money?
Mm-hmm.
He's won a cup. So in terms of winning, he's already done it. But I don't know. This
Eastern
this trade
Conference,
could really backfire to Carolina.
It could backfire, yes, 100%.
I don't think they could re-sign Taylor Hall. But if they don't, I don't look at it as the end of the world. It's Rantanen that's the issue, because if you walk, I'm just going to be frank, if you walk out of this, however the season ends, without securing Rantanen, especially if you don't win the cup, did it really work? Was it really a move?
I think they're thinking short term. They're going all in. This is an all-in move.
I don't know if you ever listened to the Empty Netters podcast.
Vaguely,
I don't know if you ever listened to it. One of them brought up a really good point. This might be literally the best chance that Carolina has.
This is it. This is it. Yeah.
Washington, I don't know when their window's closing anymore. I've given up on that. I'm going to sound biased, but the Devil's door has just opened.
They're hanging around.
And they're there.
Yep. The Leafs are still hanging around. Whatever they decide to do. The Panthers are still hanging around.
There's
teams. Oh, we good?
No, I think we're good now. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I don't know what happened. There's just, like you said, there's some up and coming teams in the league that are coming, and we talked about it. People talked about it last year, Kyle. Like how many guys were going to end up not re-signing in Carolina? Because I remember they wanted to try to keep Jake Gensel around.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. And Jake Gensel was going for a lot less than what Mika Rantanen's asking for right now.
Right.
So I think it's cup or bust if you're Carolina personally, with the risk that you're taking. That's the way I look at it.
This Eastern Conference race,
it's fun.
It's going to get real interesting.
Kind of fun.
Because you said it, right? Like, because I know you're Devils bias, if you want to put it that way.
Gee, what gave it away?
I know, right? I want that to be a first round matchup so badly.
It will be. It's guaranteed, because I just don't see a world where the Capitals lose that division.
Nosedive. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they do.
Maybe if the Flames beat him, maybe that'll be the beginning of the
It makes it interesting. So, not to sound bad, but if the Flames see that the Devils get matched up with the Hurricanes in the first round, we got your first round pick.
It's true. Oh yeah, like 100%. Look, Montreal is hoping that Jake Allen plays at least 30 games, so that's third round pick becomes a second round pick.
Yeah, if it ended today, the Flames would finish 19th, and I think they had like Florida 23 and Devils 24 or something like that.
But the thing is that I said it before, Pete. Like, I know Hurricanes fans have a different opinion about this, but I think the Devils and Hurricanes are slowly becoming rivals because of what happened 2 years ago, what has happened in games between these two teams. There's been a lot of fighting. There's been a lot of physicality. And also, just being honest, the Devils have like a handful of guys who were on the Hurricanes 2 years ago. or last year.
Yeah. Last thing before we move on. Do you think the Devils now are more inclined to make a move before the deadline? Like they have
Yeah,
to.
I mean, they were more inclined to make a move regardless of whether the Hurricanes made
They
this move
needed
or
to do
not.
it regardless. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
no, and
Fair
I
enough.
don't think it's, and I said this, I don't think that the Devils need to like get it done now or make a panic move like go after JT Miller.
Right.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. You need a top 9 guy, which isn't that hard to find, and you need a bottom 6 guy, also not hard to find. Like, I think that there's a combination of guys you could get that could help this team just be better from top to bottom. You don't need the superstar guy to come and resurrect and save this team. The Devils are not in a situation where they're missing like a big piece. They're not.
Right.
They're getting back to scoring. They've scored 9 goals in their last 2 games. They beat up on the Bruins and won in overtime against the
Montreal.
Canadiens.
Yeah.
And if they win tonight, that's 3 in a row. And all of a sudden, everybody who was talking about the Devils like hitting the skids, going 2-5-4, whatever it was,
It's like it's out the
now
window.
they're back in it.
Yeah.
Now they're back in it again. And guess what? If they're doing it without Markstrom playing, does that not worry people around the rest of the Eastern Conference?
I
Like,
don't think it would make a huge difference if you match up with Carolina in round 1.
it doesn't make that much of a difference because
I don't think it moves the needle because I think
no,
I
no, no,
still
no.
think the
I'm
opinion.
not saying
I
that
still
like
think the opinion would be made the same. That I think that I'm not calling who wins the series, but I think Carolina is the favorite.
that's no, I agree. I completely agree with
Yeah.
that because when you look at it from on paper and just also experience,
Right.
it favors Carolina, especially if they're the home team like they were 2 years ago in the second round. But I think the difference is this is I think the question becomes then, at least from New Jersey's perspective, is that can they take the motivation from what happened last year, not making the playoffs, and then 2 years ago getting beat up by Carolina? Do they use that as motivation to get it done this
They
time
have
around?
to.
I don't know. That is a 7-game series, in my opinion. Or
It's
you could
either 7 or Carolina
5.
does it again in 5.
Yeah, right. And that's
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
the way I
thing.
see it.
And so, but I don't want the Devils to also look at it and say, we have to do everything to be at equal par with Carolina.
Yeah, no, you
Because
don't.
if you're trying to make a long run in the playoffs, you can't just focus on one team. I think that was the Devils' issue 2 years ago. They focused so much on beating
On
the
the
Rangers,
Rangers, yeah.
understandably so, that they had nothing in the tank when they got to
They
Carolina.
didn't have anything. That's the
And you
problem.
got to get, but if I said it before, if the Devils want to win the cup, they got to go through Carolina.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just plain and simple.
I think you have to go. You have to go through Carolina.
Whether it's in the first round or if the Hurricanes jump and you got to play them in the second, doesn't matter.
I think you got to go through
You
Carolina.
have to play them, and you got to face the boogeyman.
I
How
think
many years did
Carolina's.
it take Ovechkin to
Yeah.
get beyond Pittsburgh before they finally did it? And the first time that they did it, what happened? They go and win the cup.
Yeah. Carolina's put themselves in position for an Eastern Conference final.
At least.
At the very least.
At the
But
most, it's
again,
a cup
at the end of the day, the last thing is that this is they're not thinking about ranting and re-signing and all that. This was purely a move to say we are all in. This is it. This is our window. This is our window officially closing, and we need to get this done.
And the only question I have, from Caroline's perspective, is how much does this affect the locker room? Because
I think Sebastian Aho loves this.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like Nate just like worked his ass off.
Yeah.
And did everything he did everything they asked him to, and they still kind of like low
I
key
still think I don't think it would affect them that much because I think they all sit there and go, okay.
It
Like,
might end.
this
I
is
think it'll
business
end
at the
up
end of the
affecting
day.
Colorado more.
Yes, it affects Colorado more, I think. But yeah, like this is
but they
this
won.
is the
They won
team
their first
locker
game in
room
that one.
going, all right, like we're in. Let's do it. Right? Like this is it.
It's an all in push.
It's an all in push.
And I think the Hurricanes feel excited because the last couple of years they haven't been able to get that big fish in the trade deadline. 2 years ago they tried to get Timo Meier, it didn't work. They lost out to the Devils. Last year, I don't remember exactly who they were trying to get. It might have been Jacob Markstrom.
Might have been Markstrom.
I think it might have been Markstrom. Didn't
Yeah,
get him.
I think it was. Yeah.
Didn't get him. They get Mikko Rantanen. They have almost a complete team. Again, I think they need to add a goaltender. I think John Gibson is like perfect for them.
Yeah.
but this is a really good team that's making an all-in push. And you know what?
There might be a name we haven't even heard of yet.
I'm glad that we got Chaos.
Good.
I'm really glad that we
We
got
need
it.
it.
And shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes for doing it.
You got it. Last two things to wrap up for the day. So Alex Pietrangelo has been left off Team Canada for the Foreign Nations due to he wants to do some recovery, some sort of thing, whatever it
He's
is.
had a nagging injury apparently. So like,
Yeah. So guess
don't
what?
blame him.
Team Canada now all of a sudden he's a right shot defenseman. One name you think of already is Mackenzie Weegar. And the other name people were thinking of too is Drew Doughty. Who would you pick to replace Pietrangelo on Team Canada's blue line?
All right, first and foremost, if Drew Doughty is anywhere near healthy, he's getting in. I'm sorry. Like
I think so,
I'm
too.
not trying to be mean to anyone
No, I
else.
agree. I agree.
It's just what it is. Some names that come up to me are Mackenzie Weegar. It's a very good example. I think Dougie Hamilton is a name that comes up. I think Evan Bouchard is a name that comes up. Here's another name that doesn't come up. Colton Parayko.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Parayko, no, is Parayko on the team? No, he's not.
He's not.
He's not. And that was a shot. And a lot of people were surprised that he wasn't on the team. And
Yeah.
so this, I think February 11th, I think is the deadline. So
to finalize your roster.
I don't know if Team Canada is going to make a decision right away.
No, they won't. They'll wait. They'll wait it out.
Play out.
They'll let it play out.
That
I feel like
yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned Dougie Hamilton. I feel like that's going to be the play because it's the same stature as what Pietrangelo was going to bring, right? Even though he's going to play on a line with Shea Theodore, I kind of like the fact that Dougie would be in that position.
He could play power play 1 or 2. I mean, you got Cale Makar, and look, Cale Makar's got it in spades. But like Dougie can be that power play 2 guy. And here's the thing. Dougie Hamilton has certainly improved a lot this year defensively with the help of Brendan Dillon playing on his left side. He has a plus-minus a +3 at the moment, which I know is not saying a whole lot, but like at the same time, they're top 5 in goals against, so that's got to count for something.
Yep.
John Cooper wants guys who can play both sides decently well, and I think Dougie plays that. The problem is that you have other guys that I think could make it a really good case as well. Drew Doughty is the one exception that I don't think it should be taken into consideration as much as people think it is, just because of the fact that he's played for Canada in so many different tournaments. It's about winning.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Drew Doughty. He is literally coming off an injury and he hasn't played all damn year.
And the Kings would rather want him.
And the Kings would rather, I'm telling you, I think that's the case. And you know what? Here's another thing. If he plays next year, he could play in the Olympics.
Sure.
So, let somebody else
do it.
Let somebody else.
And hopefully they play. And hopefully they play at the Olympics next year. Thank friggin' the All-Star game's gone. It's dead in the water. Start bringing back.
I'm actually glad that it's dead in the water.
Thank God it's gone.
Also, I don't know if you heard, by the way, ESPN reported that there are no road jerseys for any of the teams in the Four Nations. So we're going to get the greatest color combinations on the ice ever. And I am so for it.
Stupid.
And also now, you talk about injuries. Jacob Markstrom, he's pretty much not going to be in the Four Nations for Sweden.
Yeah,
that's a huge loss.
He's done. But that's okay. If you're kind of for New Jersey, it's like, okay.
Oh, it's best case.
That's
believe
okay.
Me, it's best case scenario. And if Nico Heischer's out with a concussion, just we're literally in New Jersey. We're literally at the point where can we just get to the break? We need to survive these 6 games that we got to play until then, and then get to the break, and then we can take a breath.
And the nice thing too for on Calgary's side of it is they have this 7 to 8 game stretch and then the break. So that's huge.
Which kind of sucks, if they go into it playing really well,
that's
might
okay.
Build the momentum. No, I'm just saying it's just momentum, a little bit momentum killer, because then you're off for 2 weeks.
They'll continue to they're all hanging around. They're not going to Cancun for any reason, right? They're all hanging around, right? The only guy going to the Four Nations is Rasmus Anderson. That's it
for now,
right? So
again, Weegar, we don't know.
Oh no, Anderson has an injury. Oh no, the horror. He has to stay back.
Oh, okay. Do not be surprised in these last 2 weeks, the amount of people that just somehow are hurt,
get injured.
Oh
no.
Mark Stone is on IR.
Matthews
again.
is gone. Oh no.
Funny enough, with Jack Hughes, he has been dealing with
an injury.
He got sliced in the finger against Boston.
Right.
And he hasn't been practicing. He's been playing, but he just hasn't practicing. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Last
which
thing to cover.
would suck for a lot
I
of
know.
people. But like, I'm just saying.
Anyway, last thing, you wanted to bring up Dylan Cousins to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because there was an article, because there was news surrounding it.
There's been talks on news outlets the last 2 or 3 days, really, that the Buffalo Sabres have probably the best group of assets that you can make a package for Elias Pettersson, because it sounds like to me that the Canucks are getting unhappy with the deals that they have been offered for JT Miller.
So
I
now they're
don't.
pivoting.
Yeah. So they might be pivoting to say, well, we might get a better deal to trade Elias Pettersson. I will tell you this first and foremost. I think getting rid of Elias Pettersson is the worst of the two options.
I agree.
If you're Vancouver. Because if
I
you
agree.
do that, I'm very sorry a fire sale is coming. I'm very sorry, because it ain't going to. How can you recover from that?
It's true.
And so I say Buffalo, because Buffalo's got Dylan Cousins, who has been kind of sprinkled into rumors.
Everywhere.
We talked about Dylan Cousins maybe to Calgary. I'm telling you right
I
now,
think it's still on the table.
it
But it's
is.
definitely not pressing anymore.
No. And I think the other thing is that if Calgary gets into a situation where like they could get him for less than what the market value is, I think you do it.
Sure.
Personally.
Yeah, I do too.
But I think that you look at Buffalo, I don't think they're making the playoffs. I have a tough time seeing that.
I don't know, man. Like if this drama, if all this drama just quiets down, they can easily pull some wins together.
But
That's the
they've
only
been
thing that scares
losing.
me.
That's the problem.
Well, outside of Saturday, they played well.
Outside of Saturday. But like of late, it's still an issue.
Still an issue, yes.
It's still an issue.
Yeah.
But
defensively and goaltending, it's a train wreck. Go ahead.
Oh, 100%. Thatcher Demko has regressed like there's no tomorrow. He's also been hurt, to be fair. But with Buffalo, they have been waiting for a big move because they haven't been able to do it since they traded Jack Eichel.
That's right.
And I want to get back really quickly, because I was just thinking, speaking of Jack Eichel, I want to get really quickly back to the Rantanen trade one more time after this, just because I want to bring up something I saw that I thought was fascinating. But with the Sabres, I think you have the prime assets to do it.
Yep.
You have a top player, a young player that like Vancouver could build, not around, but be a part of that rebuild in Dylan Cousins. You have multiple draft picks, multiple high draft picks. I think you can do it. Now,
I think Vancouver would relish in getting rid of Pettersson and getting a package that included Dylan Cousins, etc.
That's a win.
That's a win for Vancouver.
I think it could be a win-win,
because I think Pettersson regresses so much in Buffalo.
Well, it's been hard to say that anybody has been able to play to a high level while being maybe Jack Eichel's the exception to that. I mean, Jack Eichel was very good until he
but it would suck for Pettersson to get dealt
for sure. And I don't know. I forgot if he has an
the bottom of the East.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I would also look at it like, I mean, you're not making the playoffs anyway. I mean, granted, Vancouver's still very much in it, but like
they are in this though. They're it's not like I don't want to say
this
like
year there's so much parity when it comes to mid hockey. Everybody, nobody wants to like.
Nobody wants it. I think St. Louis, to me, is too far gone. I think it's a 2-horse race at this point. I think it's because we have 3 games in hand on St. Louis going into Tuesday night, because the Blues will play tonight against Vancouver. We'll have 3 games on St. Louis. Oh, we have breaking news.
Trade?
Capitals reportedly have extended Logan Thompson to a 6-year deal worth $5.85 million. Initial thoughts? Wow.
5 years, almost $6 million.
Sorry, 6-year. My mistake. 6-year extension at $5.85 million.
Right, because I think he had another year after this. Yeah.
Damn. I don't hate it.
Why not?
I don't hate it.
Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people thought Logan Thompson was going to be the long-term solution in net for Vegas.
You know what?
Till he wasn't. And you know what? That's less than $6 million per year. I'll freaking take it.
I
But
actually don't like it.
why?
So
Explain.
he is having his best season as a goaltender,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He's 28 years old.
He's in his prime.
Right. I don't know, man.
Look.
If he could be one of those guys though that just 2 years from now he could fall off a cliff.
Or next year. He might be awful.
I
Yeah.
think that's a risk for that long term. The money is fine. You might
But
have
I
to hang
think
on to it if he's bad, right?
right. And the other thing to keep in mind is
Mm.
that I mean, the way he's been playing, if he got to the free agent market,
Look
I,
at example. Look at Matt Murray. Matt Murray to me is a
oh,
great example.
oh,
Okay.
Leafs legend.
Right. 28. He was like, whatever. He had the prime of his career. He went on, won a cup and all that.
Won
I
two.
think Logan Thompson's best hockey might be for the next year, but I think it's mostly behind him.
So maybe if you look at it, like if they go and win the cup, it was worth it at the end of the day.
Sure.
But then again, the extension doesn't kick in yet. So I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of weird in that regard. But like, yeah, I mean, I like it because it's less than $6 million per year. Personally,
It's good in that sense. The money is good. I just don't like the
that's why
term.
I like it because
I like the money. I don't like the term.
that's fair. I can give you. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But like, also, it's kind of like if you have a quarterback that's very good, you want to try to keep him around for as long as humanly possible because it's very hard to take the risk to giving up on like a guy that's helped you win
Mm-hmm.
in the hopes that you're going to find someone cheaper that can just continue that trend when it's not a guarantee.
That's right.
And especially if the Capitals are still in the win now mode.
Yeah.
Regardless
Oh,
of
yeah.
what they have in their farm system, it is a win now mode scenario for them.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Especially as long as Ovechkin plays and plays at this high level, because damn, he's still playing at a high level.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it personally, but I get where you're coming from. And good for them. I was gonna go back to the Rantanen trade really quickly because I want to get your thoughts on one thing.
Okay.
One thing.
And then we'll wrap up.
In the salary cap era, is this the biggest like in-season trade we've had? Is there another one? Because I could give you two examples that might be bigger or at the same level in the salary cap era.
In season in the salary cap era.
And I'll give you
Go. Give me the examples because I can't think of any.
Okay. The first one is when Boston traded Joe Thornton to the Sharks for that huge package.
Okay.
And like at the end of the day, it worked out for Boston because they used the assets to then build the team that eventually won the cup in 2011. For the Sharks, while it didn't win a cup, Joe Thornton was great in his long.
He was a big reason why San Jose was always in the playoffs.
100%.
Always.
100%. Another example, much more recent, Jack Eichel being traded to Vegas. And the impact that it had. Now, granted, Jack Eichel was signed to a long-term extension literally the second he got traded to Vegas. I think if my memory serves me
so. He signed an extension.
Granted, it's a little bit different, but like in terms of the chaos effect and the impact effect, I would argue that this Rantanen trade is up there with those two in the salary cap era because, and I'm talking about in-season trades. I'm not talking about like in the off season when we like get blown up. No, I'm talking about like in the middle of the season. We're not even at the deadline, and this happened.
I think it supersedes the Eichel trade.
Okay.
Because they included Taylor Hall into the scenario.
That's fair.
I think because only Alex Tuck and Peyton Krebs and a pick, I think, went the other way to Buffalo.
Correct.
So
to be fair,
out the other way was Natchez
and
Jack Drury went the other way, right? And they include I think just because they included Taylor Hall, I think that in-season trade makes it more better.
Do you think it would have been worse if the Hurricanes didn't get Taylor Hall and just got Rantanen? Would you have a different opinion
on this?
Yeah.
Good question.
You have let me ask you this.
I still think no, because I think that Eichel was just getting off they wouldn't let him have surgery. He
You
was
wanted
done
to
for
have
the year.
that
Wanted to have
brand
surgery.
new neck surgery that
That was a risk because they didn't know what kind of Eichel they were going to get. You know the type of player that Mikko Rantanen is because he
100%.
has 60 some odd points already this season.
He looked like he fit in perfectly in just one game. They
Yeah.
lost to the Islanders in overtime.
Yeah.
Granted, which they really shouldn't have because that was ridiculous. But he looked so comfortable right away.
Because he's playing with his Finnish friend in
Of
Sebastian
course.
Aho.
And Taylor Hall also looked very comfortable in a third line role. Damn,
It'll be interesting.
they're good.
It'll be good. I think that'll wrap it up because that was a lot. We got through a lot
Almost
today.
an hour
That's
and a
good.
half.
That's good though.
I think this is the longest one. I think this might be the
Yeah.
longest episode we've done.
So we'll recap on Thursday
Yep.
because we have Tuesday night against the Capitals. We'll get you guys set for Thursday as they take on the Kraken. And who knows between now and then what other dominoes may happen as well.
I got something here from the NHL through ESPN. Nothing crazy. The NHL will not require players to miss regular season games for opting out of the upcoming Four Nations face-off.
Oh, good.
Yep, this is. I'm calling it the Alex Pietrangelo rule.
Oh, 1,000%. They see this
No,
coming
it's
a mile
fine.
away.
Like,
They see this
look.
coming a mile away. They're telling their stars too, like, you better friggin' play in this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
they're
the
telling
stars
them you're
will play.
playing. You're
At the end
playing.
of the day, they will play. It's
Yeah.
just that I've said before. This last thing I'll say: if it's borderline, they won't play.
They won't play. No.
If like Jack Hughes is still bothered by his hand by the time we get there, I don't know if he's going to be fully
At the
I
end
don't
of the
know.
day, it's up. I mean, it's still up to the Devils, right? Like they need to
Not
know.
really.
I
Not
guess.
really.
What do I know?
I mean, no, the Devils can go to Jack and be like, we advise you not to do it, but we
But
can't
you
stop you from doing it if you want to do it. It's
exactly.
like when Jack Hughes in his rookie year, the Devils advised him go play in the World Championships after your rookie. He didn't want to do that. He
Yeah.
said no. He wanted to train for next season. That was his focus. So it's truly up to them. And I think for some younger players, they might look and be like, if we're going back to the Olympics next year, that's going to mean a lot more than playing in this, let's call it stupid tournament because they can't even sell out the damn games that are being played.
Cool. Alrighty. That'll wrap up for today, and then we'll get you guys on Thursday. And yeah, good stuff. Good stuff today overall.
Good stuff
10 out of
today.
10.
A lot of good
All right.
stuff.
We'll get
Very
back to
little
you on
Flames
Thursday.
talk today. I feel like we didn't.
Well, we did the first 45 minutes.
We did, but I also think if you look at it, I think if you cut it up, I think it might be like 40 plus minutes of not talking about the Flames.
We'll make sure to do a better job than on Thursday. How about that?
Maybe we should start doing some Wrangler updates. Maybe that'll
God.
spice things up.
That'll really spice things up. All right, we'll catch everybody on Thursday. Stay in the loop, and we'll see you. We'll see you then. Peace.